Redirect?
No, sorry, that's not an opportunity. But I do want to comment on a couple of other items that did come up during public testimony. One was a comment by Mr. Boyer that the county donated $500,000 to the Upper Sims Way project. In fact, that goes through the PIF fund, Public Infrastructure Fund, of which the city of Port Townsend taxpayers specifically, even though we are all county residents, including the city of Port Townsend, we all belong to the county, and the county belongs to all of us. But nevertheless, we contribute the largest amount of that money to the PIF fund, and by state law, that fund is supposed to be collaboration and dissemination upon projects that are voted on jointly by the city, the county, the port, and the PUD. So it was not a donation. It was in fact a process in which we got city taxpayers' money back to spend on city projects, just to be clear.
Can you clarify the comment that we voted on that jointly?
Pardon me? That was agreed upon jointly, yes. So
that was the county share. We agreed on it jointly to give you our share of the PIF fund.
It was the entire sum of money in that after the 12 years, just to further this one bit more, is that it would be approximately $12 million. And that money has been going to the port, it is going to the PUD for different projects, as well as the county, as well as the city. But it was not a donation. And then also one comment that Mr. Yount stated, that it was unanimous at the Planning Commission. It was not, just to be clear. No, I went to the County Planning Commission on more than one occasion to make my comments known as a private citizen. So I was there, and it was not a unanimous decision.
Thank you for the correction.
You're welcome. And I think that was it in terms of my clarifications. Are there any other questions or comments before we get into full discussion? Okay. And in that case, is there anyone that would like to start us off? Mark.
Okay, I guess I'll start. There has been for a long time a perception that the city is somehow anti-economic development and anti-growth. I would dispute that vehemently. What, at least from my perspective, I've seen from the city is a predilection for smart growth, smart economic development, and economic development that doesn't unnecessarily burden taxpayers through sprawl, through ecological damage, and through non-concurrent infrastructure development. It's important as we look at economic development that we do it, and especially in these hard times, that we do it the most efficient way possible that benefits the most people with the least amount of taxpayer dollars. That said, on a personal level, I think there are many uses that we should be having at the airport. I think there's certainly a lot of room for development. Our questions, from my perspective, arose from a lack of clarity from the port. As the city manager put it, what we've heard is this is an eco park, this is that. There has not been, it's been a rush to put something there. And I understand the necessity for that and the desire for that. But smart planning requires smart plans. Now I want to read something from the port's values and mission and vision statement. It says, we take our mission of, this is in the port's own world. We take our mission of providing economic growth seriously. We are committed to promoting sustainable growth based on a triple bottom line approach that factors economic, environmental, and social consequences into our decision making, and which enhances the long-term well-being of the community. The next heading is community partnerships. We are committed to playing a leadership role in promoting community partnerships for sustainable economic growth. We believe by creating strong partnerships with other government stakeholder groups and businesses, we can provide more efficient and more effective services to the people we serve. Now, I'd like to take that seriously. Several weeks ago, we met with the county, as was pointed out here, and we all looked at each other and said, we need to cooperate. We asked the port to participate. They declined. It would have been a good time to sit down and start talking about this, and discuss it, so we weren't in this point in this room tonight. That being said, my inclination is that, you know, maybe it's time for the city to say, all right, we'll take the punch. We're going to take the hit here. We're going to trust. I'm going to trust what Philip said. I'm going to say, take the county and my discussions with John Austin, my discussions with Philip Johnson, and basically take those in good faith and say, all right, the ball's in your court. We will relinquish certain rights that we have, and I believe we have some legitimate concerns, and I believe we also have, you know, I think that based on, and I'm not a lawyer and I don't play one on TV, but based on the assessments that I've read, the legal assessments, I think we could probably win if we took this to court. But oftentimes, even if you win, you lose. And I think some of the community members pointed that out very well tonight. So from my perspective, I think at this point, the city is probably better off to say, all right, we're going to trust, and we're going to be there, and let's use this as a catalyst to see if we can do it together, even when there is contention. That's all I have to say at the moment.
Thank you, Mark. David?
Well, I'm just finishing up my second year on council, halfway through. But I've been here since '78, and for most of that time, there has been just a deafening roar of headbutting between the city and the county on various issues, and have largely having to do with land use and zoning and things that kind of like you're talking about tonight. And again, like Mark said, I was quite hopeful at the workshop that we had, because we did resolve that we would go together. And I will do whatever it takes. What I want to do is whatever it takes to make sure that we are able to go forward together, because we haven't for the past time that I've been living here. It was disappointing that the board declined to come to the workshop where we resolved to go together. It was also disappointing that this went forward without our active collaborative agreement that we would do this. I'm a business owner in Port. I'm real familiar with the benefits of working on leased land, owning, developing on leased property. I think that there are significant challenges for development on leased property that the port has not adequately, frankly, addressed in the port, on port property, because it is a strong disincentive to make a big and private investment for a building that will ultimately be owned by your landlord. I know this intimately. So there are challenges. So it's not a complete slam dunk that this will be a prosperous project. But again, I got people that commute, who work for me, that come from Bremerton, that come from, that have to come from Tacoma, that can't come to work because the canal bridge isn't open. So I'm very interested in pretty much, as Mark says, growing this economy in a sensible way. But I also know that if it's important.